touch on and talk about. But from the very jump, as I always do, special love, thanks, and shout out to all those who have subscribed to my channel. Also, I want you guys to know that your dreams may be longer, and you may even be getting to a point where you can't tell this reality from your dream state, because the dream state is just becoming so linear-like and so long. So many of you have been writing and asking me about the dreams, how your dreams have changed, and how you're noticing shadow people around you. You are literally shifting in consciousness. There's an expansion going on. You're becoming more one with your multi-dimensional self. There's nothing about this that you should be fearful or worried, or you should worry about. This is all good. Believe me. Now, before I move forward, I would like to read an email at the request of ha666-ish. This family member had written me about a month and a half ago, and asked if I would read something to you guys, and I'm going to piggyback on it. And it says, "Greetings, brothers and sisters. This is indeed a great time for you. The awakening has begun, and it's spreading like a wildfire. I know how frustrating it can be to try and wake others up. I have tried to awaken many people, and as a natural response to this kind of knowledge, I was called stupid, crazy, and delusional. However, this is natural for them. They are currently in the first stage of the awakening, or in other words, they don't know that we are all one. Do not be aggressive or assertive towards them. This will only feed their unconscious ego. Be witty, creative, and smart. Make them feel comfortable. Ask them thought-provoking questions such as, why do you think there's so much destruction and hate in the world? Make them trust the knowledge they are receiving from you. Once they trust you, don't give them too much at once. Give them half a cup of knowledge. If they seem to want more, or ask for more, give them another half a cup. Just a little bit of advice to my family. Much love to you, ABB, and much love to the world, smiley face." That was some really good advice. And I want to piggyback that many of you guys, again, have written me and asked, how do you go about waking people up? And what I've told other people is what I'm going to tell you guys as well. You can take the advice that a family member had just suggested, and they're all good, and I support that. But I also say that it is best to not try to push your worldview or your perspective on someone who's clearly showing that they are not receptive to it. In other words, if someone steps to you and aggressively attempts to force their way of view or their belief system or what have you on you, you already know this is someone that you should not give your energy to, because to debate someone or to try to force your perspective on someone who is not receptive, none the least, is a waste of time and a waste of energy. 99% of the people who know about Astralboobaby found me through word of mouth, or that they've had an experience and they got on the internet and they looked it up and they found me. I don't go out of my way sharing any of the things that I talk about on astralboobaby.net on anyone. I do not force it on anyone. However, if someone were to approach me with a perspective and I make it clear that it is something that I'm not really receptive to, I will then explain to them, if they should ask, why I feel that way, and I will explain it, and I will leave it at that. There's no point in getting into a hostile debate, or even in some cases people are fighting over who's right and who's wrong about what is reality, what is really going on in the world, and what is going to happen, or what may or will happen. It is a waste of energy. Focus on developing your inner light, your inner God, your Allah, whatever it is, the higher power or the inner power of your understanding. Cultivate that, strengthen your magnetic field, and what we will see happening is that those who are receptive and ready, they will find those that they need. They will ask questions. I cannot tell you guys how many times I've been out and about minding my business and someone would just come up to me and start talking and will open up about otherworldly experiences. Why did they feel that way? They may not be consciously aware that when they came into my presence and gauged my energy on a soul level or on a spiritual level or on some kind of deeper level, their magnetic field was letting them know that it was safe to open up. And they always say, when they open up to me, I don't know why I feel so comfortable telling you this stuff. And then I have to proceed and explain it to them. So again, the truth speaks for itself. You do not have to force anything. Just become more of a magnet, more of a brighter light in the world, and those who need what you have to share will find you, and vice versa, because none of us know everything. No one-man institution, group, what have you, has all of the truth, all of the answers for everyone at all time. It does not matter who they say they are or where they come from. It just does not work that way. So as I always say, keep an open mind, put your filters on, take it, anything and everything that you receive as simply information, filter accordingly, take what resonates and leave the rest behind. Now, the first part of this video, I want to talk about a profound, powerful astral projection, astral projection experience that I had. I still don't quite know what it means. I can only speculate. I can clearly see the symbolism in it, but I'm going to share this with you guys, and you can reflect and perhaps discern for yourself, what does this mean? Some of you may have had similar experiences. Some of you may have even had experiences with the particular entities that I will be talking about in this particular astral projection experience. One like no other I've ever had. So, here goes. About a month and a half ago, I, of course, decided to go to bed, having no intention of doing anything otherworldly, no conscious effort, at least from a lower perspective. I did not have any intention of doing anything. All I know is that somewhere after being asleep in the physical vessel, I became acutely aware of vibrations, and I suddenly found myself staring somewhere in a highly bright realm. The sun, if you could say the sun, was shining very brightly, very bright and beautiful scene. And I find myself, after feeling the vibrational shift, looking at what appeared to be a bird's nest made of thorn branches. And this bird's nest made of thorn branches was perched against a granite wall and a granite base. And I found this really peculiar. So I came in closer, and inside this nest made of thorn branches, there was this statue carved out of gold. And it appeared to be a male figure carved from gold. And I remember seeing these thorn branches wrapped around, extending from this nest, and it was like perched in the corners, going around the granite wall. Very interesting indeed. So I thought, what is this? What is going on? Why did I find myself here? So I shift my consciousness to get a broader perspective as to where I was and what was going on. I look out, and to my surprise, I find that I am at the very top of a pyramid that looks very much like the pyramids, the Mayan pyramids, the pyramids in Mexico. And what's even shocking, even more surprising and shocking, is that when I look down, as far as my eyes could see, at the very bottom to the middle to the very top, I see these creatures. They were ape in form, or more like gorillas, human-sized, gorilla-like entities. They were like hundreds of them climbing this pyramid, coming towards me. There was one particular that was, I would say, from a human perspective, about 8 to 10 feet away from me, and I got a really good look at the face. These ape gorilla-like entities were human. They didn't look like the apes and humans that we see here on Earth. They were blue-black, and their facial features were quite attractive, actually. They were definitely more human-looking in the face than what the apes and gorillas appear to be in our particular timeline. And they had a level of spiritual energy. I could feel it. All of this combined was quite overwhelming and shocking to me, and I became very angst when I saw all of this. And the vibrations kicked in, and I came back and I opened my eyes thinking, what the hell was that? And I proceeded to sit up, and I got my head and shoulders about 5 inches off of the bed, when all of a sudden I see a giant golden hand coming towards me, reaching towards my face. And that's when I totally blacked out, and I didn't wake up until the sun was out. I don't know what time it was when I had awakened from this. I know it was still dark in my room, but the hand was gold and illuminated with gold. And again, when I had awakened, it was about 7:30 in the a.m. and the sun was out. It was a very beautiful day. Now, as I said before I got into this story, I can only speculate what all of this was. I don't know who those beings were, those 8 humanoid creatures were. I don't know why my higher self or an aspect of myself went there. I don't know whose hand of the being that reached out to me was. I can only speculate, but I am very clear there's some powerful symbolism going on in that particular experience. It was beautiful. I became overwhelmed with awe and wonder and surprise all at once, and it caused the energy, the focus to break. And as I've said in my videos before, when we're on the astral realm, or when we're on another dimensional realm or what have you, whenever the energetic flow kicks in, be it fear, excitement, too much joy, whatever the case may be, many times we lose the connection to the experience. And because that whole thing caught me by surprise, I just lost it. And even with waking up and sitting up from my bed and that giant hand coming towards me, again, I don't know if I totally blacked out or I just don't remember what happened thereafter. But I don't know, but I'm sure that one day I will. And of course, my higher self, my core, my soul, whatever you want to call it, knows what's going on. But I'm going to make it a point to find out from this personality, this human perspective, what that experience was all about. Alright, now on to the next part of this vlog. It is ABB Q&A. Now these questions are often related to, or most of the questions that I receive are often related to astral projection and consciousness, but many of the questions that I receive are beyond what I usually talk about in this video, and some of them are very personal, and people ask me how do I think they should handle certain situations. The first question is from Out of This World Girl. She says, "Hey ABB, I read somewhere that we should not practice astral projection because it is our soul that leaves the body during an astral projection experience, and that this leaves us open to being possessed by demons and spirits. What are your thoughts on this?" Now, I've touched on this before in videos past, but not in the way that I'm about to explain now. First of all, I know there are differences of opinion and beliefs when it comes to astral projection, but when people say things like the soul leaves the body, it's the soul that leaves, and we open, and when the soul leaves, other entities can come in and possess the body. This is partly true. This is not the whole truth. First of all, every being on the planet does not have a soul. Everyone has a spirit, everyone has consciousness, everyone has a level of awareness, but everyone does not have a soul. But everyone astral project. Again, everyone is not going to agree, but I'm saying everyone does astral project. So to say astral projection is the soul leaving the body, well, how is it that those who don't have a soul are able to astral project? Now, it is partly true in that there are those who do have a soul who can project an aspect of their soul if they so choose to experience something interdimensionally or multidimensionally. Remember, the spirit and soul does not sleep. It does not sleep. It is only the physical vessel that requires sleep. So when we are unconscious from this perspective, there are aspects of ourselves who, or that is traveling out and about and experiencing other dimensions, other entities. There's information that's being shared. We're learning. Some of us are amending contracts. There are all kind of things that we're doing, but this aspect of ourselves is not consciously aware of that. So, having said that, those of us who have a soul and may choose to project an aspect of our soul to experience something is only projecting a fractal of ourselves. So most of who we are on a soul level is still in place. This is true from a spiritual perspective as well. Many of us travel to other dimensional realms by filling bubbles of consciousness. That consciousness may appear to be like a light. It could appear to be like a mist. It could appear to be by way of an astral body or a copy of the body. There's so many different ways in which we can travel. Let me give you an example. From a physical perspective, if we want to travel to another state or country, there are multiple ways of doing that. We may opt to drive, we may opt to fly, we may opt to ride a bike, we may opt to walk if people do it all the time through marathons. If they want to go to another state, we may opt to get on a boat. So from a physical perspective, to get our physical body from different places, we have different modes and ways of doing that. The same is true for our multidimensional parts. We may choose the astral body. We may choose an aspect of spirit. We may project a part of our consciousness through a bubble. We may use an aspect of our soul. So, having said that, can an entity come in and possess while we're out? No. No entity can possess us without our permission in some shape or form. That is universal law. Everything is contracts, divine covenants, and agreements. Now, most of us are making agreements and not be consciously aware that we are making an agreement because we are detached and we are not in our discerning mode, or that there's someone who's more clever and manipulating us into agreeing or participating in something that we wouldn't consciously do. But it still comes back down to no entity, no one, no group can do anything to us or possess us without us inviting it in or giving it permission in some form or another. All right, next question from 909, Confused 909. I was wondering if your first astral projection could be hard to control and maybe a bit of a blur. Also, maybe a magnetic force trying to pull you in a certain direction. Very powerful. 1, 2, very hard. Okay, let me go back and read that. The next question is from 909, Confused 909. I was wondering if your first astral projection could be hard to control and maybe a bit of a blur. Also, maybe a magnetic force trying to pull you in a certain direction. Very powerful one, too very hard to resist. Okay, now, again, we all astral project all of the time. From the time we come into this world, the majority of us just don't have enough energy, awareness. We haven't not become one with our multidimensional self to bring in and to transfer the memory of the experience. So really, if we are just having a full-on conscious astral projection experience, it is just that you are becoming aware and you're becoming more one with your multidimensional self. So it's really an awareness, and that awareness is the first from your current perspective. And yes, it is usually very blurred. You really don't have full sight. You will feel a magnetic pull, a magnetic pressure, because as I've said time and time again, we are magnetic in nature. The entire universe in pure energy form is truly magnetic. You have to experience it to truly get it. And I know those of you who have, but there's still people who haven't had this or haven't remembered this. Let me turn it around. Haven't remembered what it's like to be in their pure energy form and feeling how powerfully magnetic we are. This is why we tend to be pulled when we are not in our conscious mind and have enough energy and knowledge and awareness and how to control the magnetic forces and energies around us rather than letting it control us. So the answer to your question is yes. The first time we consciously have these experiences, it's very blurred. It's like opening our eyes and trying to see for the first time. And there is the magnetic force that goes in. And of course, the more we have these conscious experiences, the more online we will become. And the more aware we will become. And the more control we will begin to have. Question number 3. From Weed and Meeful. Would smoking weed affect your efforts to have an OBE? The answer to that question is, first of all, I've never smoked weed, so I can't honestly say, and I hadn't really gotten any powerful revelations about this, but I will say that based on the responses that I've gotten from people who have had an out-of-body experience and who smokes weed regularly, they consistently confirm that it has helped them, and I would assume that it helps because weed, based on what they're saying, truly relaxes the body. And let me specify, pure weed, not weed laced with chemicals and drugs. Pure weed relaxes the body and helps us to get into a very, very natural and relaxed state. And therefore, this could help us to put the body asleep while our consciousness stay awake, and simultaneously help us become aware of our multidimensional or higher self or core or soul or whatever you want to call it. So yes, I would say that based on the responses that I've gotten, it can enhance an experience if the marijuana is smoked in moderation and with a pure intent, with the marijuana being pure in itself. All right, Anonymous 1, and I made this person anonymous because of the age. I am 15 years old, and my mom has set up an appointment to take for me to take a vaccination shot. But I told my mom that I don't want to do this because I don't trust them. But my mom tells me that I'm being paranoid. I don't want to take the shot, but I don't want to disrespect my mom. What should I do? Now, this is very touchy because, of course, those of us who are underage and still living with our parents, there will be times when our parents will make decisions for us that we may not agree with or that we may not like. And of course, we can let our parents know in a calm, cool, and respectful way why we disagree and why we may not want to go in that direction. I do not want to encourage anyone who's underage to fight with their parents, because when it's all said and done, our parents are doing the best that they can with what they have to work with. And if a parent is taking their child to get a vaccination shot, it is because they care. They feel that they're doing something to make us better and to make us healthier. Now, we may feel and see things differently, but again, because we live with our parents and they are under our jurisdiction and authority until we become of age to be totally independent and make decisions on our own, we must respect our parents and not fight with them. Now, the best advice that I have for those of us who are underage living with our parents and the parents want us to take a vaccination shot, and even after trying to reason and explain to them why you don't want to do it, they still decide that you're going to take that shot. What you can do is, before you take the shot, put your hand, as the doctor or physician, if you can put your hand on the vial of the vaccine and do a prayer or meditate. Next question from Asher 1989. I'm still quite scared, though, coming across something that's going to make me scared to sleep ever again. Do you have any recommendations on what action to take when this problem comes up? Do you defend yourself, or do you just act friendly to the entity? Well, truth be told, every time I've had an encounter with an entity that by most people's standards would be frightening or intimidating, I don't give it any energy one way or the other. I really don't. It's very difficult to frighten me at this point. It was a process, but I learned that when we simply either stay in a neutral zone or project laughter, joy, or love, it is really the fear and the fright that some of these entities want to feed on. Then there are those entities who are there to test us. They are not necessarily there as vampires to frighten us. They're there to see if we're ready to go to the next level. Keep that in mind as well. So my best recommendation is to take a deep breath and focus on being neutral, or focus on something that makes you feel joy. Focus on something that makes you feel like you can just conquer the world, whatever that may be. But for me, I'm always in that neutral zone. It's very neutral. Now, you guys may find that in your dream state, or even in your astral projection state, you may have entities that may try to provoke you. And this is happening. Make no mistake about it. But again, do not give into it. It could be a test, or it could be a vampire wanting to feed off of your energy. Next question. Sharon Williams. I'm so confused. There are so many different people, religions, and whatnot telling me to follow this and don't believe in that. I just don't know what to believe anymore. Any advice on this dilemma? Well, Sharon, and anyone who is in the same situation, remember, we are anchored here in the same particular time. Time is an illusion, but still we're in this particular time and space, anchored here. But there are various schools of thought, belief systems, agendas, and so on, so forth. You have different group thinking going on. You have all kinds. It's so layered. It's so complex. And within those different schools of thoughts, agendas, programs, groupthink, everybody believes they have the one truth for everybody. And this is really ego in effect, whether people are aware of it or not. And when the ego is in control, there's no getting through to that. So what I tell people is, be open to everything, but remember to see it as simply information. Simply take what resonates and leave the rest behind. But don't stop at one person, place, or institution. Continue to question. That's what I always say. That's the best way to do it. That's the best way to grow. It is the best way to evolve. I've seen it in my life, and I've seen it in the lives of so many other people. So just see it all as information. It's just information. And what is the harm in receiving and reviewing information and taking whatever resonates on a deeper level and leaving the rest behind? There's nothing wrong with that. So keep an open mind, and just keep an open mind and filter and discern wisely. The next question and my last question from Anonymous 2. I just don't want to be here anymore because this game is just too hard and I am not happy. Since life is really a dream or illusion, what's the harm in committing suicide? Alright. Well, when I use terms like illusion, let me explain to you what I mean by that. The illusion is believing that this is all there is to reality, meaning what you can see with the physical eye, what you can touch. That is an illusion because there's far more to us and to everything than meets the eye. When I say life is an illusion, I'm talking about what we are constantly being told and fed as truth. Many people have a deceptive thought, or their consciousness is deluding and deceiving them, and they really believe it. In that sense, that is an illusion. It is an illusion when we are believing that someone whose intent is very, very negative, but because we see something attractive and they have on a suit and tie and they're smiling and they're saying things that you want to hear, or that things that feel good, and we believe that they're there to help us and they love and care about us, that is an illusion. The illusion is also that reality is fixed, and that this is, again, reality is far more fluid than meets the eye. So when I talk about the illusion, I'm implying and talking about the illusion on so many different levels. Now, having said that, although we know all these things are illusions in their own right and in their own way, and I can give countless examples, the experience that we get are real. We are here for the experience, and there are those who want to keep us trapped in this experience for various reasons. But the experience is real. The experience is the chemical and the energetic creations that we do and we create as the result of the experience, and we take that with us. There's an alchemical situation that is going on when we experience this realm. And we take that with us. That helps us to evolve the soul and access other realms, other dimensional situations. Let me give you another example or an analogy of what it is that I'm talking about. We know that when we go to the movie, we are suspending belief or disbelief. We know that on that screen, from this perspective, that those people are actors, and all of those scenes are props, and they were built on sets, and it's make-believe. It is an illusion, another form of an illusion. But we agreed to go into that movie theater and have the experience of that reality on the screen. And some of us become emotionally charged, and there are chemical things that go on inside of our bodies. There are electrical things that go on inside our body. There's also knowledge and information that is in the film that we can learn from. Now, once that film is over with, the suspension of belief is over with, but you take with you the memory and the experience, and if we have our discernment on, we will have more knowledge, because there's something to learn. There's information and knowledge being put in every single movie, something to learn from. Now, think of this life in the same way. The difference is, instead of observing and watching a movie on a one-dimensional screen, you are in the movie. You are playing a role. You are the character. And yeah, there are beings who are watching us. We're like the movie from the perspective of other entities. And of course, when we remove ourselves from this reality and we become pure consciousness and go to our pure state again, we will then see this reality for the movie that it was and is. But the experience is still real, and the experience is still a part of who and what we are. You get where I'm going with this? So, your life is a gift. Much has been put into getting here. You committing suicide could be disrupting a divine purpose. You did me wrong.